In a conflict between the heart and the brain, follow your heart. Isn't that such a lovely quote? I find that very inspiring. Now it is relevant even now in this day and age. This is a quote by Swami Vivekananda, who was a very inspiring person. He was, as is evident, a Swami, so that means he had renounced his public life and he had dedicated himself to the service of God. And whatever, if you look at his teachings, you realize that his teachings are so powerful and relevant even today. By relevant, I mean that they are still purposeful even today. We can still use them even today. It's not outdated yet. I am Jaisi Benoy and here to present an inspirational story of Swami Vivekananda. So I'm just going to tell you a few incidents of his life to show how he was able to come up with such teachings that are so profound and relevant even today. Now, Swami Vivekananda was not always Swami Vivekananda. He was born as Narendranath Datta in West Bengal. And he was born on January 12th, 1863. And that is why in India, the National Youth Day is celebrated on January 12th. Now, his mother was very religious. And so she always, took care of Narendranath as, by teaching him about all the good things about spirituality. And because she was religious, he used to see her performing all the pujas that were performed. And he used to take it very seriously, even as a little child. So in fact, there's a story where he was so naughty in the beginning that his mother used to pour water over his head to calm him down. So he was that naughty and curious in the beginning, but gradually he changed and he became a different person. He became so in tune with his spirituality of his mother also, that he himself started meditating. And he started reading more. So in fact, there's a story that he was a voracious reader. By voracious, I mean that he was somebody who loved to read. So you could give him so many books and he would be able to read it and understand it. And he would not get tired of reading. So that kind of a reader is called, who reads several books, is called as a voracious reader. Now, in fact, there's a story of Swami Vivekananda that he once went to a library and he borrowed a huge number of books at the same time, and he would return them within a few days time. So once the librarian of that library got frustrated and asked him, "Are you actually reading these books which you're taking?" And Swami Vivekananda was like, "Yes, I am." But then she did not believe him, so she just picked up some book which he had borrowed earlier and randomly asked him about what that book or what that page was trying to say. And Swami Vivekananda was able to quote as it was in the book, and she was surprised. So that is how well read and how curious he was. But it also shows that Swami Vivekananda was intelligent. He was so intelligent that he was able to remember all the things that he was reading. And there was something very peculiar about Swami Vivekananda, in the sense that he did not believe just because something was told by the parents or because it was written in a book. He went on to meditate and think about what was being said in a book, or by the author, or by the parent, or by the people around him. So how do we get to know about his intelligence? One, he was well read and he was able to remember things, that is sure. The other thing was, he had this habit of dangling, that is hanging upside, from his limbs from a tree. And he used to be hanging himself upside down from a tree. Now, one day, one old man saw him hanging from a tree, and the old man went and told Swami Narendranath that, you shouldn't be hanging around from the tree like this because you will fall. Then Narendranath was like, why? Why should I not hang? So the old man thought that he's a small child, so let me scare him. So the old man said that, there are ghosts in this tree, and if you keep hanging like this upside down, one day they'll come and wring your neck. And and then the old man went away. But Narendranath continued hanging upside down like this, and his friends were scared. So the friend asked Narendranath, "Why are you still hanging? Didn't that grandfather say that, there's a ghost in this tree and that ghost would attack us?" Then Narendranath replied that, "You know what, you shouldn't believe everything just because an elder person says. Because if the ghosts really existed in this tree, they would have killed me long back. I would have been dead by now because I've been hanging on this tree from so long." So that is how Narendranath was. That is how Swami Vivekananda was. He used to not take things at the face value. He used to think about it, and he used to rationalize and analyze about it even from a very young age. So that is how fearless and very rational Swami Vivekananda was. Now, apart from this, there are many instances of Swami Vivekananda being very compassionate also. Now, because he was so curious, and because he was so thoughtful, and because he was fearless, that meant that he must have been little troublesome for his mother to handle, correct? To take care of. I'm pretty sure, because your mother will be getting upset if you keep asking questions continuously and are running around continuously. And if you're fearless, you will do things which could be scary, which a parent will consider scary. So sometimes his mother used to punish him by locking him up in a room. But Narendranath, he never felt upset about it. He always tried to do the best with whatever circumstances he was in. Now, like I was telling you, that he was very compassionate. So what was this story about? Now, whenever he saw somebody who was begging for alms or anybody who needed help, he used to give whatever he was available at home, or even if there was something that he had and he could give away, he would give it away to the poor person or the person who needed it. Now, one day he was locked in his room, and this story goes that he heard one old man coming and asking for alms, and he had nothing to protect. He didn't have anything, no proper clothes to wear, and he was begging. So then Swami Vivekananda saw this from his window, from the room in which he was locked in, and he had only his dhoti to give. Now, what is a dhoti? It is this long cloth that you drape around yourselves, right? So that dhoti he gave away to the old man, because that was the only thing that he had which was his and he could give away. So he gave it away, and even though he was punished and he was locked up in a room, so that is how compassionate he was even as a child. Now, what happened to this child when he grew up? So he was very witty, he was very clever, he was very curious, he was very knowledgeable, he was able to take a lot of information and keep it, analyze and understand it so much better. So that is why he grew on to become really charming, and he went abroad to study and became very famous. But over the years he met Ramakrishna Hans, and he was this guru, and he was very impressed by this guru, and that is why he became his follower. And Swami Vivekananda then decided to become a monk, but his guru told him that he would need to wait, see the world, study further, and only then come and join the guru. And that is what Swami Vivekananda did actually. He went around traveling, studying, taking a lot of information, learning more about spirituality, and then he would say that he would put his complete mind and soul into whatever he was studying, or whatever he was learning, or whatever he was observing, so that he could do the best. And those are his teachings. That is what Swami Vivekananda went on to teach. In fact, he had gone to the Western countries for different religious, get-togethers, gatherings, where people from different religions used to come and speak about their religions. So Swami Vivekananda used to go and preach about Hinduism, teach about Hinduism in those Western countries. And he was such a good orator. What does an orator mean? Orator is a person who is able to speak in front of a crowd. So it's like a public speaking skill, which was so powerful that he was able to captivate or capture everyone's minds and hearts who are listening to him. So I have this quote by Swami Vivekananda, who was so idealistic. He was very idealistic in the sense that he had very strong sense of what was right and wrong, and he believed that if you really wanted to live a better life, you needed to work with your ideals in place. So this is a quote that I found: fill the brain with high thoughts, highest ideals, place them day and night before you, and out of that will come great work. So what does this quote mean? It means that do not let your circumstances pull you down. No matter what happens, even if somebody rejects you, somebody says no to you, like how his guru told him, no, I will not make you my disciple now, go and then come back to me. If you still feel like following me, then you come back to me. And that is what Swami Vivekananda actually did. He went back, he studied further, and then he went back to become a monk. And so similarly, you too can do the same. How will you be able to achieve the goal that you want? You will need to have those goals in place. Think about it day and night, so that even when there are things which are not going your way, or your day is not good, you're not happy, you're sad, that's okay, not a problem. Remember, tomorrow is a new day and you will find another opportunity, another day to do better. All right, so I'm leaving you with this last quote by Swami Vivekananda. It says, stand as a rock, you are indestructible. You are the self, that is the Atma, the God of the universe. So those are really powerful words. It says, Swami Vivekananda is trying to say that everything is within you, the power to decide what you want to do, how you want to live. In those times when you are not sure of yourself or you are doubting yourself, try to remember these words. Stand as a rock, you are indestructible, because it is actually our thoughts have the power to destroy us, and that is true. Very many of us must have faced this, correct? We think negative thoughts, or we are sometimes overwhelmed by those thoughts, and we are not able to look beyond. We are not able to believe in ourselves even though the world believes in us. So that is why remember that you are a rock and you are indestructible, and if you put your thoughts and if you put your goals in mind and if you work towards it, ultimately all those failures, all those rejections will become your success. I'm leaving you with this powerful image of Swami Vivekananda, which I find both powerful and calming at the same time. That even when he is meditating, he is completely into the meditation and nothing is going to move him. So remember, stand strong, and remember that you are indestructible. Take care of yourselves. Thank you.